Hello, BookTube. I'm here with a bit of an unexpected video. I've been tagged by Brian at Bookish. I didn't think I'd be tagged for another tag for a long time. I thought, my momentous tag yesterday, my magnum opus tag would be the end. But, yeah, Brian tagged me in Matt Wall's The Paperback Junkies, The Damn I'm Old book tag. Well, yeah, I have to admit that. But and it's like Brian, like the words are remember in here. It's hard to remember what you know, when I last went to the toilet or had a drink of water, let alone so long ago. But we'll give it a try. We'll give it a try. You know, the first question is I had to make some notes because I'll even forget it before I even get down. So I've got the prompts here and I got my notes in my notebook. First question is first big book release you remember. I really had to, drag the memories out, and that was, I guess, the journal, the voyages of Christopher Columbus. I remember that coming out, and that was a big thing. He gets in his little boat, and he sails. He sails. He sails east, and we just thought we'd never see him again, but he showed up, again, and that book, we just knew it was a lot of BS. He didn't tell everything that he did there, we just knew that, when you speak to him and his buddies and that, it was quite bad stuff, but anyway, I remember that it was a big release, and it started those little upstarts across the water there as well. Number two, first author interview you remember? Well, yeah, that was a tough one too. But I remember seeing Nikki, yeah, author, little author, and he just boring stuff about politics and philosophy. And I remember going to his lecture, his interview, and I was pissed, and I'm sure he was pissed as well. I probably fell asleep. And Nikki later wrote a book. What is it about? Something about princesses or princes or something like it. It was just full of political drivel and philosophical drivel, but Nicky tried, he tried, but he was touched. Yeah, he was touched. Number three, first book craze you remember? Ah, yeah, this one was. It was Tommy's book. He wrote this book about an island, this mystical island, what do you call it? Utopia. That's what it was. We were all wondering what was Tommy smoking when he was writing this. He was on something, but again, it's become very influential and misunderstood. But at times you sort of wonder, well, it'd be great to take a visit there and maybe set up shack, set up house, on Utopia. Sometimes you think about that, especially what's going on today, what's been going on for a long time. Number four, first adaptation, remember, movie? No idea what these terms are. Are you talking about, translating, works for the stage, possibly, Greek and Roman or, mystery plays? Nah, I was not much for those, I could never, abide by those, it just, all these people in this little area, just sitting there sweating and, and there's no booze, there's no ale, you go into these things and you just sit there and you watch these ponces on the stage, prancing around in these mystery plays, they so-called. They're no mystery to me. They were crap. Anyway. What's next? Number 5, first convention you went to that was book related. I remember that as a lad. Hitching up the horses and onto the wagons. We needed to have enough space to bring books back, real books. At that time. And heading up to Frankfurt. Where all these people would gather. For this fair, and you could buy real books at that time. Not these, cheap things that were made on presses. These were, hard work done by people that would, write them out, copy them, and they were very unique. Well, I'll get to a little more than that, in a little bit. Yeah, no, it's just, because I remember, it just, I think it was there that there was this little Johnny, and he had this invention that just put so many people out of work, all these monks and these copyists. It just, you no longer had these little doodles in the side, or, these funny little cartoons of, butt trumpets and all sorts of stuff like that, or, the cardinal or the bishop, being a rat or something like that, hidden in the pictures. It just wiped all that, good stuff up, the uniqueness, and it put all these people out of work. And he called this a printing press. He was a Johnny come lately, but well, our opinions didn't mean much then, and they've been proven wrong. But it was still a big shock. These things. Anyway, let's get moving on there. With old age, I ramble a little bit occasionally. Number 6, first book club book or buddy read. I don't remember what that was, but we did have a group of us. There was 5 in total. I remember there was a young lad, and he didn't like his first name, because he thought it was like a feminine name. And because his last name was little, we called him Rabby. Yeah, Rabby. But he kept, he just was a weird lad. He liked fart jokes and poo-poo jokes, and and he'd make up all these words, and it just, he was touched as well, like there had been something, he must have been dropped on his head as an infant, and and he couldn't stick to a job, he became a priest, then he became a doctor, but he did write this huge gargantuan of a book. It was just a huge book over many years, and of course he got in trouble with the censors for it. We told him, you can't spout this stuff, you can't talk about this stuff, openly, and then when he did get in trouble, what he did? He blamed it on the printers, oh, they changed it, it wasn't what I put in, and and he loved lists. He would come into our meetings with lists of things, of words, of ideas or things. Yeah, he was touched. But also too, I remember an artist. Like, he was an old feller. At that time he was getting on in years, but he was an artist, and he liked tinkering with things. He thought of himself as an inventor. That was Leo. He just kept talking about, well, 2 things. He just kept talking about, flying, and, he'd bring in these drawings, and we'd go, oh, yes, Leo, pat him on the back, and we just, oh, poor Leo, but, and he was obsessed by this woman that he kept, he painted. He was obsessed by her. Beautiful woman, though. He was a very, very good, he was a very good painter, but, you can't trust him with his students, though. That's the thing. Let's see, who else was there? Well, there was another guy. He was a prolific writer, he eventually came. But we couldn't pronounce his first name, so, and also, too, like Rabby, we called him Raz, Razzie. Raz or Razzie, And he would come in with all these ideas, religious ideas, philosophical ideas. And we praised him all the time, but it was just pure folly, It didn't matter whether you praised him or not, He would just go on and write. And he wrote so much stuff. Just volumes and volumes, and it was just, like I say, there was no need. It was just pure folly to praise him, just wouldn't work. And then there was a priest we had, his name was Marty, and we told him, and he would talk about, things that he wanted to do, and feel like he, and against the church and and we told Marty, don't touch the Holy Scripture. Don't try to translate. You're gonna get in trouble. And guess what? He did get in trouble. And we told him to lay off the nuns. Do not get in relationship with nuns. It's gonna cause you problems. But no, Marty didn't listen to us. And he went on his own way, and he created his own religion eventually. You might as well call it that. Yeah, Marty was one, but Marty was really good at, he could put back the ale. Yeah, he could put back the ale, and so did Rabbi. Rabbi was young, but he could put it away. Anyway, again, I digress. Where were we? We were at book club. Yeah, that was our book club. The 5 of us. And then number 7 was, how much was your first Columbia House type book club? I'm not sure what that is. I don't know what Columbia House is. Does that have something to do with Columbus? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I kind of think it might mean where, and I suppose I could combine the next 2 questions as well. It's your favorite small chain that isn't around now, and then the first item you bought at a Barnes and Noble or I don't know what those are, but or a big chain, big bookstore, So, and there was this great little book shop, on the waterfront, right on the waterfront in Amsterdam. It was Bob's Books and Swords. You could get everything there, and you could put down, you could pay a monthly fee, and you would get books from him. Bob was really great, and he was good at the drinking too. He was really good. But the problem was the swords, because you get these literary people together, and they throw back a few brews, and they get fighting, and fighting with swords is not pretty. I can tell you that. They'll start arguing of, the tense of a word or the verb. There was one time, there was 2 of them were arguing over a verb in Homer, and they just went at it, hammer and tong. Well, swords and sword. And the one got run through. But, the good thing was that we're right on the waterfront. So, the body could go in and disappear, but there was so many times that there was duels out in front, and I kept telling Bob, get rid of the swords. You don't need the swords with the books. But he wouldn't listen. But he was always good to me, and he was really small when he started. So that's my small, place. He had a couple of bookshops around Amsterdam as well. But then he blew up, and he started having shops all over Europe, And I don't remember the exact time. Well, I bought everything from him. So, you just name a book of that time, and I bought from him, He's just, Bob's Books and Swords. Wonder what happened to Bob, Yeah. Yeah. He either drank himself to death or got skewered by one of his swords. Yeah. Poor Bob. Anyway, I'm not going to tag anybody. There isn't any other old fellers out there that haven't been tagged. So, I'll see you next time, BookTube. Take care.